know, once you have that beautiful baby in your arms, there's a flood of new questions. One of the biggest, will the baby ever really sleep through the night? The earliest weeks are always the toughest, I'm told, but there are some things that you can do. Sherry Mesra is a sleep specialist and also author of The Baby Sleeps Tonight. And Sherry, it's funny because every parent I know has said, Heather, you will never sleep again. For the rest of your life, that's it. Once you're having a baby, it's over. Is that true?
Well, you know, I thought the exact same thing almost 11 years ago. And I thought to myself, you know what, there has to be a way. Here I am, a working mom. I need to sleep. And so that's when I started doing a lot of research and testing things out. And all my friends were having babies. And I developed this formula to have children sleeping through the night by the time they hit 9 weeks.
Well, let's talk about some of the biggest mistakes that new parents make first, right? So that hopefully I can and other people can avoid them. Let's take a look at these. Oh, this is number one. Every time baby cries, baby is fed.
Well, that's
the big one.
That's a big one. When children come into the world, the only thing they know how to do is cry. So if your baby cries and they're always being fed and you're not identifying what those cries mean, that can really create some chaos. So really creating a crying checklist will really help. I mean, you need to find out, was my baby fed well? Did
Diaper.
Is my baby wet? And then a big one is gas.
Okay.
Does my baby have gas? That can cause crying as well. So you really have to identify those cries.
Okay, and then some of the other tips that we had on there on mistakes that parents make?
Oh my gosh. Okay, one of them is also burping the baby.
Yep.
Some just gently slap the baby a little bit, but you know what? You really have to have a nice firm beat to really work that burp up.
Okay.
The other thing is silence in a nursery. In the world that we live in, silence cannot happen. So you want to have some sound, because if you always have silence, then you're always going to have to be quiet.
Your baby will always expect that, right? I'm not going to go to sleep until it's absolutely quiet. And then being reactionary, because we all know people who, you hear the baby cry, you want to go rescue the baby.
Right. Sometimes it's okay to pause a second, because something may happen and the baby might just go back to sleep.
Okay, so where do we begin when we start talking about putting a newborn on a schedule? Okay. You have 4 tips for us.
Okay, one that's very, very important, the most important, is to practice efficient feedings. Efficient feedings is key. Learn how to feed your child. That will really help your child learn to sleep through the night. Okay. That's the first one. Another one is you really want to make sure that your baby can be on a schedule. You want to make sure that there's a lot of different variables involved that will keep that baby well fed. And everything
that mom eats, the baby eats, right? So
yes.
There are certain foods you want to avoid?
Especially if you're breastfeeding mom. You know, anything that the mother may eat that can cause gastrointestinal distress, you're pretty sure it could possibly cause it for the child. Perhaps onions, garlic, broccoli. You really want to make sure you kind of keep somewhat of a bland diet if your child is having any kind of reaction.
Okay, very quickly, we're going to show you, this is a sample sleep schedule tip that you have for us, just to try. So quickly summarize how a parent would begin this.
Well, the most important thing is practice efficient feedings. Try to go every 3 hours from the very beginning, starting at 6 a.m. Feed your child every 3 hours all the way through the night, starting again at 6 o'clock. At about 3 weeks, drop that 3 a.m. feeding. See what happens. Let the baby wake on their own to eat. What we're doing is we're creating the night. We're getting that child to sleep from midnight to 6.
Okay, so the baby's not used to always getting up at 3 and saying, where's mom? Because that would be the habit that would be created if you continued that.
Right. They have no concept of day or night at this point. You have to be the parent. This is where parenting starts.
Now, Sherry, your book says that you can have baby sleeping through the night by 9 weeks.
Yes.
Okay?
Really?
We're going to give it a try, and you know I work a crazy schedule. And we'll see if it works, and we'll see if I can resist those newborn cries and try to stick to a schedule.
And we're going to work on tools and techniques that will help you, guide you through that phase.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. By the way, you can find an earlier discussion with Sherry on our Moms Like Me website, momslikeme.com, where parents were asking her all sorts of sleep questions. Then join us tonight at 11 o'clock, because from sleeping to nutrition, we're going to talk to a lactation consultant about how to overcome the challenges of breastfeeding. We're going to give you some of the best tips to get off to a successful start. Eric?
Thank you, ladies. Just ahead, it was